you need to take more time looking. Like, I don't know, like you're thinking.
Gerald, I cannot believe you lost the keys again.
Jesus, Margaret, give me a fucking break. You always bust my berries about losing the keys. I'm looking everywhere. Yeah, no, there. What are you doing? You're standing there not doing shit. Fuck it, let's order pizza.
Alright guys, what's up? This video is going to be about budgeting. The van dwelling budget as opposed to the apartment budget. So I've been doing a little bit of math to try to get the numbers as accurate as I can about how much money I was spending per month living in the apartment and how much I've spent living in the van. I'm coming to the end of a month, so they're not completely accurate, but bear with me. And I also want to say that this is just for me. This is my budget, and I know a lot of other people have different expenses that I don't have, so you know, the amount of money that I'm saving is not representative of what a lot of other people have to deal with. So when I added up everything that I paid when I lived in the apartment, I had my rent, I had gas and electric, my phone, the gym, car insurance, and Netflix. Those were my bills, and they came out to be about, what was that, like $935, something like that, somewhere around there, 900 to 1,000 depending. So that's where I was every month, pretty much without exception. A little bit cheaper gas and electric in the summer, but a little bit more in the winter. My water and sanitation was paid for by my landlord, so I didn't have to pay that. Now, since I've moved out, I actually included in there too what I spent average on groceries, and this is also an estimated number, but I would spend somewhere around $250 a month on groceries. And so if you put it all together, it's $1,185 that I spent a month, basically. So $1,200. And then, you know, removing the rent and the gas and electric and some of the money for groceries is a little bit less, because the grocery store, you buy other things besides food. You buy stuff to clean the bathroom, clean the kitchen, you know, different household items that you need when you have a household. So some of those were eliminated by not having a household. So now I just have my phone, the gym, my car insurance, and Netflix. I don't watch Netflix really, but I just keep it. My sister uses it, so it's $9. I don't really care. And my groceries are down to about $40 a week, so $160. So all told, I'm about $815 saved. Spend about $370 a month living in the van. And you know, it's give or take, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. And that's about $815 a month that was outgoing, that's now staying in. So that's a pretty significant chunk of money. At the end of the year, I think it's close to $10,000 at the end of the year that was out and now will be in. So that is substantial for me, you know. For some people, if it fell out of their wallet, they wouldn't bend down to pick it up. But for me, then I started to think about, what if I wasn't, like, you know, I'm pretty minimalistic. Well, even when I lived in the apartment, I didn't have a lot of stuff. I didn't have credit cards or any of that type of shit. I wasn't into buying things, so I didn't accrue a bunch of, you know, expenses. But suppose I just had pretty much a typical life that most people have, or most people are pursuing. I would have like a mortgage payment. Who knows how much that could be? Could be a lot, could be not. I'm going to have homeowners insurance on that. I'm going to have property tax to pay every year on that. Suppose I have a car, maybe two. I have a car loan, maybe only on one, but I have car insurance on both that has to be paid. And depending on what state you live in, maybe you have to pay tax on your cars. I know in Ohio you don't have to pay a car tax, so to avoid that. You have gas and electric for your property. You have water and sanitation that you have to pay for your property. And if you live in a community, like a gated community, or not even some regular areas, they have some suburbs make you pay a due to be part of their community group. You know, just an excuse to get some money out of you. And then, you know, if you're, you know, like most people, like most Americans, you've got some credit card debt. Some maybe, you know, a lot. Some, you know, maybe on top of it. But most people have some credit card debt. And if you're young, chances are you have some student loan debt that you're paying. And, you know, with all these combined, who knows? I mean, I don't know how people can manage, or if they are managing, how they can keep their sanity while doing it, while seeing everything that comes in go out, and then the tiny little bit you have left over you want to, you know, use for leisure. I can't blame you. Some people that are broke, like, what the fuck? What else do you expect them to do? You can't afford to pay all these bills. So avoiding those was, you know, paramount in my life. Avoiding all this shit. You know, I didn't want this property. I didn't want car loans. I didn't want none of these things. So I was able to accrue very few of them by living in the apartment. But even with those, you know, saving 10 grand by getting out of that. And, you know, yeah, you definitely sacrifice, you know, living in a metal box as opposed to an apartment. But, you know, you really have to determine what's valuable to you. And if it's valuable to you to have this big thing where you have to pay for all these extraneous, you know, expenses you have every month or every year, if that's worth the trade, then, you know, the van life and the van budget isn't for you. But if it's just a lot of superfluous money that you don't, you know, you're thinking, why the fuck am I paying all this shit, you know? And, you know, credit cards and student loans and those type of things you can't really get out of. But, you know, just start thinking about the bills that you do have that you can change, you know? For the longest time, I kept a flip phone. I didn't even use the smartphone thing because I had one, then I didn't have one, then I didn't have one. So I went back to a flip phone because I just wanted to limit my exposure and access. For me, if I have access to stuff, sometimes it causes an issue where I just, you know, if I have too many options, I'll try to take advantage of all of them. Whereas, you know, just a flip phone was like make calls, send text messages, and that was it. But I ended up dropping that one in the toilet, and so I ended up getting the smartphone that I'm filming this on now. But, you know, for the longest time, my phone bill was nothing. So you can just, there's many ways that you can try to reduce your expenses. Maybe you work at a job where you can't really increase your income that much, or it's once a year you get a raise or something like that. There's other things you can do to reduce what goes out. It kind of seems like maybe you're getting a little bit of a raise. Also, a good way to save money, and I did this most of my 20s, is just every time you get paid, just take your paycheck, multiply it by 0.10, take that amount and put it in a separate account immediately. And then you don't even know it's gone. It's a small amount, but it starts to add up. Just do it every week or every 2 weeks whenever you get paid, and then you can increase it over time, 0.12, 0.15, and just put it away. You don't even see it. You don't even, it's like if your employer takes out health insurance. You don't even really know you had it because it's gone before. Just kind of do that with that, and then before you know it, you got 1,000, you know, 2,000. You got money just saved up, and you almost don't want to touch it because you want to keep seeing it grow. So it's kind of like this, you know, self-perpetuating motivation to save money. So yeah, that's my new budget versus my old budget. Pretty pumped about it. I haven't got to feel the real effect yet because I'm not even a full month in. But once I get further and more accustomed to the lifestyle, I'll do this again to kind of get more accurate numbers. But yeah, so far so good with the budget. And also about the food thing, because I was spending way more in the apartment than I am now. Changing your lifestyle like that from, you know, the apartment life or the house life or whatever to living out of a vehicle, it changes a lot about your diet as well. Lifestyle change equals diet change. You know, some of the things that you have ready access to all the time, you don't have access to in your van. For me personally, I don't even keep a cooler or a refrigerator. Anything that I want to eat that's cold or drink that's cold, I just purchase it and use it then. The temperature is too variable in the van for me to maintain, you know, something that keeps stuff cold. I don't eat very much cold stuff or, you know, that anyway. I'm not a big dairy person or anything like that, and if I do want something, I'll just go get it immediately and use it. Otherwise, you know, part of the experiment is limiting the amount of maintenance and that type of stuff I have to do. So if I have a cooler, I'm continuously having to empty it and buy ice and replenish it, and at the same time, you know, hope that it's maintaining. And it can get hot, you know, inside a vehicle, especially if it's closed up and you're not in it or anything like that. You know, I keep a thermometer in my van, and I see that, you know, some days it gets up over 100 degrees, 105, 110, you know, and it's really hard to keep perishables non-perishable in there. So I keep mostly dry goods. I eat a shitload of Cliff Bars. For me, it's pretty delicious and I like them. But yeah, if I want to do anything that requires perishable or cold or something like that, I just go get it and use it then. So with all that being said, your diet changes significantly. So you're not buying as much of the things that you would buy. You know, maybe I would buy a 12-pack of beer or something and keep it in the refrigerator in my apartment, or, you know, I would have almond milk, or, you know, maybe I would have some cheese every once in a while, or butter or something like that. I know you don't have to keep butter in the refrigerator, but you definitely can keep it in a van. It will become liquid in seconds. But yeah, so you're not buying as much of those things, and you know, you save a little bit of money with the sacrifice of the luxuries of having that stuff readily at your disposal. But yeah, any questions or anything, just leave in the comments and I'll respond to it. And see you next time.